streak. And this is a pitcher LSU's very. And take a drop ball for a strike at 72. Robbie Guest has the plate today. Brian Crochet's at first. Chelsea Clark over at third. LSU 41-13, 12-12 in the league. Oklahoma 43-7. The Sooners went 17-7 in the league. And this is their first Mississippi State 5-0 yesterday. Beth Torina's Tigers had 9 hits and a couple of walks. They had a 4-run second inning against Raylan Chafin, the former Tiger, one of the best pitchers in the league. Another one of the best in the league is Landry right here. And she begins the game getting a slow ground out to third for Nellie McEnroe-Marinas. Low. That's going to be the crucial area in the strike zone for Sam Landry and her catcher Isabella Emmerling, also a transfer. She came from North Carolina. A lot of new faces for Patty Gasso this year.
And there's that changeup. She told me a couple of weeks ago that changeup is her favorite and goes more vertical up and down with her rise ball and drop ball instead of more east to west with her curve and screw. And there's her screw. I mean, as a right-handed hitter, when you see 72 miles an hour right at your knees, right at the bottom of the zone, that's a hard pitch to get your barrel to. She gets a really good angle and cuts that pitch inside.
Here's a 3-1. Grounded to third. That will twist foul, and it's 3-2. Oklahoma had the third best pitching staff in SEC games this year, 3.65 ERA. The fifth best offense and the best record a half game ahead of Texas A&M at 17-7. 33. And she has been death to drop balls this year as well, so it could be a very good matchup for the sophomore from Humble, Texas. Berzon's 2-0 is up and in. Cassidy Pickering this year 20 out of 40. Go back to her last 5 games. She's 12 for 20 with a double and 4 home runs and playing through some real pain. She's been dealing with a lower leg injury for much of this season. And you could see it was really bothering her the first half of SEC play. Patty Gasso said it's not like she's in less pain. She's just figured out how to hit. Garcia having a tremendous freshman year. 15 home runs, 47 RBIs, both lead the team. Coming out of Chandler, Arizona. One of many members of the Orange County Batbusters, a travel team that's like a pipeline to OU.
And Cindy Berzon is going to.
The world at her disposal here. And she takes strike 1.
And that's an off-speed curveball that Cindy Berzon threw very well in that Florida series too. Whenever she looked so strong in the circle, she did not just rely on her drop ball on both sides of the plate, but she also spun an off-speed curveball. A lot of these Oklahoma hitters are getting the very back of the box to combat that drop ball and make her bring it up.
Sanders is hit by the, including a grand slam back in mid-February against Baylor. Berzon is 1 strike, 1 pitch away from limiting the damage. It won't come here.
Base hits and even home runs.
Beth Torina said, I don't know if there's a freshman in the country who's being pitched like Tori Edwards. If there is, it's probably a short list. The 18 homers tied for the LSU single season record. And Isabella Emmerling heads over to the dugout. Off walk.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are figuring out the strike zone early. We're seeing a lot of drop balls thrown between Landry and Berzon and not a lot of low strikes called.
Remember, the 4-run second inning yesterday for LSU started when Edwards led off the inning by being hit by a pitch. So she gets a free. Beth Torina told us Jaden should be the poster child for anybody on a roster who didn't get what they wanted last year. Said there was never a day where she didn't work or quit trying even though she didn't have opportunities, and fought her way into a starting spot this year.
Yeah, and Jane Leno is a really cool story that Beth Torina told us about that I thought was kind of funny.
Sam Landry has started either 2-0 or 2-1 on every hitter. 2 strikeouts, a walk, a ground out, and a fly out so far. Here's her 6th to Leno.
Well, and I thought it was interesting, Kevin, talking to Patty Gasso on the field before the game, and she said that's a good thing too about having Tori Edwards out there. She's known for her power, but she also has some speed too. So just because she's more of a power type hitter and you see her in scoring position, she can easily score on something to the outfield.
It's a career high 12 wild pitches for Landry, who's now behind of our quarterfinal quadruple header in Athens, Georgia. And how close is this league? The difference between the 1 and the 9 seeds in some ways is negligible. Both teams averaging over 7 runs a game. LSU slightly better ERA. Oklahoma 17-7, LSU 12-12, but the Tigers actually 2 spots
through the first 5 batters that she faced. Akbayani helped her out a little bit, rolling over up the end of her bat, an off-speed curveball that seemed like her swinging at that pitch and putting it into play really helped Berzon's confidence to continue to get outs moving forward.
Abby Dayton pokes the first pitch to Lassiter. There's a quick out for Berzon, who's retired 4 in a row. For the dangerous Pickering is grounded out of play. Sydney Berzon has been fighting through lots of bumps and bruises this year. Not feeling 100%. Battling through it in her 3rd year. And she,
despite kind of fighting through a little bit of injury throughout this season, and Jaden Heavner is pitching the way that she's capable of, like we saw yesterday. This is a really good 1-2 punch that they're led with in the circle. And the improvement in their offense, scoring a bunch more runs, hitting for a higher average this year to support those pitchers in the circle and give them the run support that they need, hitting above as a group. And we're going to remind you of all of these things and hold you accountable, from hard 60s, how hard we run down to first base, to kind of measuring all these different things at practices and in games. But we're going to remind you that we've fallen short in the past of those things, and we want you to take ownership of those 3 pillars to be able to get back to the World Series and meet our goals.
yeah, they're aware that they've had, again, Ella Parker a big part of this at the plate right now. Another way they've had to rebuild. It's a new team, a lot of new faces. They're in a brand new league as well. Big 12 or the big whatever it was before that for their whole history. Now they find themselves in the SEC with this new group. So things are a lot different for Oklahoma, including they're not playing in the state.
Curveball by Sydney Berzon. We talked about her being able to change speeds more, especially at the end of the 1st inning and into that 2nd inning when she went 3 up, 3 down. But said that Oklahoma wasn't looking for that speed. They were just not swinging at it, hitting not off the end of their bat. But that was a barreled up off-speed pitch off of Nellie's bat.
Who is the next coach of the Olympic team in this cycle, and she's got quite the right-hander on her hands here with Sam Landry.
Yeah, really been working the bottom of the zone with her drop ball and her changeup, able to locate it on both sides of the plate. Didn't mean to throw this pitch here, I don't think, but it still worked. 4 strikeouts for the first time through the order for Landry.
Nobody has a hit. Haven't barreled up anything against Landry today.
When you watch Sam Landry pitch, you know she always has those glasses on, and there's a story behind it. So she started wearing them her junior year of high school, and she said, I can't remember why I wore them. I had to almost become essentially her own pitching coach, and because of that, she has a really good awareness on spin and body awareness and being able to just change tilt and change speed with just about every pitch she throws.
Ball, have fun.
2-0 for Sydney Sanders here. Berzon has still not allowed a hit in the game, and she's retired 8 in a row. It's for Ilana Agbayani is next into the box. Agbayani lays down a bunt foul. 2 weeks ago, the SEC Player of the Week. She had a grand slam and went 6 for 8. Sydney Barker getting greeted with the Baja men who let the dogs out.
Do you think that's because she has Bark in her name?
100%. Yes, absolutely.
I was looking for the Georgia Bulldogs somewhere around here, but instead it's Sydney Barker, the freshman.
Emmerling just nicks a pitch, stay alive. And the 2 innings with leadoff walks have resulted in runs for Oklahoma. 4 walks, 1 hit back.
This is an 0-2 pitch and just gets her barrel down to this pitch. It's not pretty, but it works. Able to send it the other way, and an 0-2 pitch. Great barrel control by Abby Dayton, who can also slap, but swings away there.
Patty Gasso took a timeout. So her offense will turn the lineup card over to Cassidy Pickering, who's going to bat for 3rd. And its 2nd run. Their first post. Leno, Daniel, and McKee, 3 left-handed batters against Sam Landry, who struggled against LSU at times when she was with Louisiana. Off-speed drop.
And Sam Landry told me, word for word, I'm a technical pitcher. I want to work on mechanics all the time. And Coach Rocha reminds her, Sam, your body knows what to do. Just throw the ball. So it's really been her mindset this year with working with Coach Rocha that has developed and gotten stronger and more confident.
Had Jerry Glasgow not left Louisiana for Texas Tech, we might not be seeing Sam Landry. Said she wasn't planning to transfer until that. Oklahoma had a roster spot open for veteran pitcher. Sam Landry filled it.
Well, and it made me laugh because she told me it feels good to trust a pitch that I've hated my entire life. And when she got to Oklahoma, especially at the beginning of LSU, that is that changeup. It falls off the table. She can locate that pitch wherever, whenever. Has a great spin, tons of confidence in that change.
4 2/3 no hit. Yesterday, LSU saw their pitcher throw 4 2/3 no hit.
So they could do some BP.
That ball's blasted. Ella Parker, 1 hop to the wall in right center. And the Oklahoma slugger has her first hit, her 2nd time on base, and a leadoff double off Berzon.
Remember, in between at bats, she goes to the dugout and she puts a boot on and then puts her cleat on to get ready to hit. Look at her get her barrel.
See ya, 2 away. Wow, I'm learning new and exciting things every day about you. You love foul balls in the booth and you do a one-handed cartwheel. Under hit on that bit. 2nd strikeout for Berzon, trying to work around the leadoff double. Boy, if she could do that, if you can.
Difficult. You see so many fewer hitters have patience, like Sydney Sanders, like Reagan Kramer from Arkansas, like Lindy Ray Davis from Georgia. A lot of patient hitters because you just get up there and you want to swing.
7th pitch coming. Parker, the runner at 2nd after a double.
Players returning from the starting lineup last year in Cassidy Pickering, Ella Parker, and Sydney Sanders. Everybody else a new face with being a freshman or a transfer.
Ball. A 96th Oklahoma home run. That's the most in the SEC. They've turned Athens into OKC.
To not guess and be out on her front foot. Think about driving it the opposite way.
The third time through the order, Oklahoma has really solved. Brizant really goes back to Sydney Barker the second time through in the 7th spot. Oklahoma did have 4 walks and a hit batter, but no hits.
Top of the 6th.
Together. Beth Torina told Taylor, she told her team to be a little more like that crazy Louisiana team, bring some energy. They had long at-bats in the 5th inning. They saw 23 pitches, but went down.
You just watch them live, looking down at them, their reads, the amount of ground that they cover. They're so quick to get to balls, and then not to mention what Nellie Mack and Romarinas can do at third. We talked about a completely different offensive lineup for Oklahoma and a lot of different bats, but their infield is completely different with the exception of Sydney Sanders. Everybody else is a new face.
On the pitch.
Uh-oh.
Oklahoma is challenging that ruling. The play is under review.
Well, let's see if this indeed is going to be a 2-on-1 out situation. Oklahoma challenging if Danica Coffey left early from first.
After review, the call is upheld. The runner left on time. That is Oklahoma's first challenge.
I love Birmingham.
Here, especially with the lack of command that Landry is showing the last few batters. And a smaller strike zone at times, not getting the call like that. That looked like it should be a strike, a drop ball in the outside corner, and she just doesn't get the call.
Tori Edwards has 4 plate appearances with the bases loaded this year. All 4, not to sound like I'm on the Athens Port of Tourism, this is just an awesome city. It's just an awesome city. The weather's been great. There's so much green space. There are parks, there are trails. There's an incredible music scene here if you're into that sort of thing. All kinds of REM landmarks. B-52s came out of here. Widespread panic. Drive-by. They was throwing 112 pitches. 5 hits, 5 walks in the game, and a couple of strikeouts against this terrific Oklahoma offense. Pickering on that well-conditioned infield for G Home Internet. Quarterfinal Thursday here in Athens today. We've had some great games. 5 of 7 games have been within 1 run in the closing innings. A walk-off yesterday. Bree Ellis with a grand slam to beat Georgia.